Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Academy of Light, the channel where we combine psychology, philosophy, our spiritual inheritance to figure out how to live a good life, how to live the good life, how to overcome despair and the ills and poisons of our age, and live with strength and pass on this beautiful world to the generations to come, hopefully. So today, in today's episode is called The Breath, and we are moving from a very big picture view, which was given in episode 1, to the microcosm of this episode 2. I imagine that a lot of the folks listening and watching know a lot about working with the breath, but in order to start at the beginning with the foundation, I'm going to speak as if you are hearing this for the first time. And the intention is to share and explain the extraordinary importance of awareness of breathing. The Buddha, as well as many other spiritual teachers throughout time, as well as modern psychology, always stress the importance of the breath and paying attention to the breath. And in this episode, we're going to kind of briefly explore the extraordinary importance of developing a practice of watching and being aware of the breath, both in our everyday life and within the plant medicine journey. And maybe it's helpful to point out at the beginning that the word breath and the word spirit is the same in many, many languages. We see from the Latin root spirit and inspiration, inhaling and being filled up with the spirit being the same word. Or I'm from Russia originally, the word dыхание, breath, дух, spirit, dusha, soul, have the same etymological root. And we find this in languages like Arabic, Hebrew, Sanskrit, and many other languages of the world. Why is that? There is some connection that our ancestors saw between the breath, awareness of the breath, and the spiritual life, or the psychologically healthy and strong life, which are one and the same. So, part of the reason for this is that when we pay attention to the breath, the mind is brought together with the body. And when the mind and the body are in one place, magic happens. We are more calm, more strong, and more happy. And more able to transform our suffering into freedom from suffering and liberation. So what I'd like to do, I think, is to offer a few tools that can be used during formal seated meditation, which is a kind of gym for awareness of the breath and awareness of the present moment, which is, of course, where we encounter this remarkable world. And in addition to the practice of meditation, formal seated meditation, we really want to be paying attention, to train ourselves to pay attention to the breath all the moments of our days. And as we train in this way, we will find also that we become more and more skillful at remembering the breath during ceremony with our plant allies, mushroom allies, or psychedelically assisted psychotherapy if we're using the more modern and Western way of describing it. And this is incredibly important. In fact, it might be the most important thing when working with these plants, because it's in the present moment and when the mind and body are one that the deepest visions come, that we experience the wisdom of the body, that we receive insight from the body and through the body, from the emotions and through the emotions, from the mind and through the mind as well. Insight that we're then able to bring back into our everyday life when we come down from the proverbial mountain of the ceremony or the psychedelically assisted psychotherapy session into the valley of our days. So just to share a couple of techniques that can be used for remembering the breath, very simple techniques. The first is we can count to 4, 1 on the in breath and 1 on the out breath, 2 on the in breath, 2 on the out breath, etc. up to 4, and then begin anew from 1. And if we lose count because the mind gets distracted, that's okay. We return to the count of 1. So it would look something like 1, breathing in, 1, exhale. 2 on the inhalation, 2 on the exhalation. And this is to be done at a natural timing. You do not have to deepen it or lengthen it. You just follow the natural movement of the body. The body breathes itself. The numbers are just there as an aid to our concentration. Now, another very, very simple tool, this one taken from the Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, is the simple 2-line gatha or poem, which goes, breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. In, aware, aware on the out breath. And as you breathe in this way, you can use less and less words. For example, after a number of breaths, you can simply say, aware, aware. Again, you can do this as you are walking to complete an errand, as you're standing in line, as you are sitting in meditation practice, and absolutely and certainly as you are within the visionary state of sacred plant medicines. And I think another important thing to express is that, as always, and you'll see this as a pattern in these tools, in these lessons that are shared, these offerings, the practice that we do on the cushion when we meditate informs our practice as we move throughout the world, which then informs the ceremonial state. The ceremonial state is a kind of, we could say, very deep form of prayer or contemplation or concentration. Different traditions have different language for speaking about this. When we move away from the present moment in the state of ceremony or psychedelically assisted psychotherapy, the medicine, as it is often traditionally called, or we could say the plants, the mushrooms, the vine, they are strict teachers and they will kind of punish us and say, hey, come back and be present to whatever is arising. This is always the central lesson and theme in contemplative traditions, contemplative practices. We will be speaking primarily from the Buddhist viewpoint, but these kinds of practices are found in mystical traditions around the world. So as the medicine or the plants or the mushrooms or the vines, what have you, teaches us in this manner and urges us to bring our concentration back to the body, back to the emotions, to the heart. We gain in our ability to do this and then bring that back once again, once we come down from the mountain into the valley of our everyday lives. We bring it back and we re-enter our everyday lives with a greater capacity for presence, with greater insight into the power of presence, the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle has called it, mindfulness or remembering or awareness of the present. And our ability to stay centered, stay grounded, increases. We become stronger as human beings. Our ability to protect our very lovely mother, the earth, grows stronger. Two other techniques that are frequently taught when speaking about meditation practice are, I'll start with the first. It's called abdominal breathing. You've probably heard of it. And it's practiced very easily. You take your hand, you place it on your abdomen, and you allow the air to flow to your diaphragm, which results in the abdomen expanding and contracting. This is a very grounding breath. Our abdominal center in many maps of neurology, and we could say spiritual neurology, we could just say psychoneurology. The abdomen, it holds our strength, holds our power. And often when people's boundaries are crossed, when people are having difficulty with maintaining those boundaries, exerting their power, they will experience physical problems in the abdomen. Our Western medicine is, I think, just beginning to see these connections. We're not very good at treating it yet. However, as we practice meditation, once again, on the cushion, as we're walking, as we're living, certainly in plant spirit medicine, we can breathe into the abdomen to experience a sense of groundedness and strength. And in order to practice, we can place our hand on the abdomen, breathing into the abdomen and releasing the breath. Once more. Breathing in, allowing the abdomen to expand, and releasing. And this is a great point of concentration, especially when one wants to connect with one's sense of courage, strength, and groundedness. The second that I'm going to offer, actually this is the fourth, counting the 1, 2, 3, 4 and the Gatha, the 2-line poem, is essentially the same, but the hand is placed on the heart, or simply the attention as we breathe is brought into the heart. The heart, of course, is also an incredibly powerful neurological center. Of course, it is where we experience many of our emotions, including some of our experiences of love. The church bells are ringing here in the valley. I don't know if you can hear them. And the heart has an incredible ability to hold everything and to transform it. Breathing in, I am aware of my heart. Breathing out, I send gratitude to my heart. Breathing in, I listen with the heart. I listen with the heart on the out breath. All right, y'all, so my sound went out for some reason in the last third. And on top of the mountain over here, it's so hot that the phone is overheating. So a couple days later, I stepped into this eucalyptus grove to complete this episode. Yeah, nice grove of eucalyptus trees here on this mountain called Apu Linli. Apu meaning guardian, with the belief here in Peru in the Sacred Valley that certain mountains hold wisdom and protection for the people. When we left off, I was speaking about the breath, concentration on the breath, and a point of concentration being the heart. And I was saying that especially when there is pain, the breath is our best friend, and the pain that we might feel around the heart is an excellent, we don't want to experience it, right? But it is an excellent tool or cue for entering the present moment. And when that occurs, really the breath needs to go where the pain is. This is extraordinarily central in the Buddhist teaching, and it's extraordinarily central in our experience during visionary journeys with our sacred plant allies, let us call them. So, because a lot of emotional pain is often experienced in the heart, as is attested to by all kinds of ballads throughout the centuries, that's an especially good time when we're feeling that pain to bring our attention to the heart, to that pain. Breathing in, I experience the pain of the heart. Breathing out, I send compassion to the heart. These little tools, these gathas, these two-line poems that guide our attention are incredibly useful as well, and they can be really created to fit the moment. So if during our everyday experience or during the visionary journey we are feeling that kind of heartache, that's a gatha that we can use to concentrate the mind. And why would we want to do this? Of course, because bringing the attention to that pain allows it to be processed and allows it to move through our psyche and, having arisen, pass away with new experience, new clarity, new insight coming to take its place. And those are the main tools that I'd like to share today. We will be returning and going deeper with some of these as the episodes unfold. I think the last piece that I want to leave you with is the breath is such a fundamentally important tool of concentration and presence. And through that, contemplation of what is, which, when contemplated, brings us insight, wisdom, and strength. That really, to the extent that we're able, we want to get into the habit, if we're able to pay attention to every single breath that we take from rising to falling asleep, that's excellent. There are, of course, certain traditions where we are taught how to pay attention to the breath even when sleeping. But having not mastered those traditions myself, I'm not going to speak about them until I do. And of course, the meditation cushion is the gym where we train being able to pay attention to the breath. Our everyday life is our everyday life, where we practice paying attention to the breath. The more we do that, the easier access we have when we enter the ceremonial visionary state with the ayahuasca vine, the psilocybin mushroom, the wachuma cactus, what have you. And having access to that, being able to stay present, we have greater access to grounding, which is extremely important in those ceremonies. And through that, we can experience more insight and bring more of the insight back. Of course, our plant allies, mushroom allies, friends, whatever we wish to call them, are going to teach us, sometimes quite harshly, how to return to the present, how to be here now, how to be with the breath. So we will learn if we're paying attention. And coming down from that proverbial mountaintop to the valley or marketplace of our lives, we will bring with us a lot of lessons of mindfulness, lessons of presence, awareness, mindfulness of breathing, which we will then be able to practice and apply in our everyday life, creating this virtuous feedback loop that I will be speaking about quite regularly, bringing us strength, bringing those gifts back into the ceremonial space, and through all of it, growing in insight and wisdom and understanding of how to live in harmony with one another, with the beauty of creation, so that we can hopefully pass this lovely world to the generations to come in the beautiful way that we have received it, to the best of our ability. That brings us to the conclusion of this episode. Thank you very much for being with me. Wishing you a beautiful day. Peace, everybody.